I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Camille Dumont, and I am the director of CCPD at Post University, which is the Center for Career and Professional Development, essentially career services, more commonly known as. And I also am the program chair for the Professional Success course CTC 301. And we are in the process of creating these webinars. So far there are two that have been created, Resume 1, Resume 2, and this one tonight, with more to come. And the library of videos will be available in the CCPD website, along with the CCPD YouTube channel. So these are definitely available to you as resources. And I'm so honored to have Dr. Risa Blair join me for this webinar. And I'd like to ask her if she would introduce herself. And I would just like to say thank you, Dr. Blair, for joining me and helping me in this webinar.
Thank you. It's so nice to see students here and students from my class. I'm so thrilled. I've been teaching at Post University for, for a few years now, CTC 101 and CTC 301. I wrote resumes for 20 years. I stood up a recruiting department over the course of a year for a small business owner. So I've had a lot of experience in the career realm, and I've done the whole career change thing at least 5 times myself, and am in a position now, like I just said to Camille, that never expected, if you said to me 20 years ago, well, where are you going to be in 20 years? Had no idea. So that's why everybody really needs to equip themselves with skills and ongoing skills, because we don't know what it's going to be like 20 years from now. So we just need to keep training ourselves and keep moving forward with all the technology and all the opportunities.
Thank you, Dr. Blair. So I'm going to go ahead now and share my screen, and we are going to start our presentation. Again, this is being recorded, but this is all about LinkedIn and using LinkedIn for your job search. So what is LinkedIn? Well, it's very different from Facebook. It's actually the world's largest professional network, with more than 830 million members in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. So you can imagine the amount of people who are involved in and members of, and people that you can network with on LinkedIn. It's just huge. Their vision was to grant space for all members of the global workforce to create their economic visions. Their mission is to invoke productivity and cultivate successful networks to connect the world's professionals virtually. That would be you. The founder is Reid Hoffman. He launched LinkedIn in 2003, and it has become the oldest mainstream social platform above YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And it really is that professional platform, that professional network that you can use in your career development, job search, just for anything professional related.
So what's so fascinating about LinkedIn is this. Look, we've got 55 million companies on LinkedIn and 14 million jobs. So if you're looking for a position, here's where to go to look. I mean, above and beyond looking at Monster, looking at Career Builder, you can look in LinkedIn. You can look at companies, you can learn about companies because they have their own LinkedIn instances, and you can also look for jobs and apply for positions at those companies. So why is LinkedIn so very important? Here, look at the stats. Imagine 3 people get hired every single minute in LinkedIn, which is absolutely amazing. This is a place where recruiters go, and they go fishing, we'll see in a minute, to find folks who are going to fill their needs. And imagine 55 job applications get submitted every second to LinkedIn. So again, this is a great source for you to go job hunting. you know, what a huge success factor with these statistics. And why should you embrace LinkedIn? As I mentioned, this is that huge pond where recruiters are going to vet people. They want to find, gee, could there be a potential candidate out there on LinkedIn? And it's free. You don't need any special kind of an account as a recruiter, although they do have a special recruiter account that's paid for. But anyone can search for keywords and find different people with those skills in a particular location. And also, it's super important to promote your personal brand. This is your professional Facebook, okay? It's all about business. It's all about job hunting. It's all about moving forward in your career. So
I'm
link,
sorry, I just wanted to make sure that Marcia was able to admit the person who was waiting. I didn't want to leave them in the lurch.
okay.
Marcia, you're on mute.
Hello?
Wonderful. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. Marcia, so welcome. I just wanted to be sure. So Marcia, for any future people who are waiting in the lobby, it looks like you are able to admit them, correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go back to the LinkedIn page now.
Okay, thank you. So again, in terms of LinkedIn, you will market your personal brand. So when we think about marketing, we usually think of products. In LinkedIn, you are the product. So you want to present yourself in the best light. And this is your opportunity to promote yourself. So you want to put those wonderful things out there about yourself for someone to find about you. Because if you don't promote yourself, this is your opportunity. If you don't put those things out there, nobody's going to know. So this is the opportunity for you to do that, for you to have your own personal branded website for free. LinkedIn is free.
Okay, so why are we telling you all about LinkedIn? Well, you can find a job on LinkedIn. But it's all about making connections. So you can search for jobs on LinkedIn. You can apply for those jobs directly through LinkedIn. What I don't recommend is that you just apply cold, meaning that you see the job, you hit apply, you connect your resume, and you think you're all set. If you want to give yourself the best opportunity to land that job, you want to use LinkedIn to gain quote unquote intel and use this when communicating with decision makers. So how do you do this? Well, if you're applying for a particular job with a particular company, you can start to look to see who is in your network that might work there. Can you reach out to that person and say, hey, I want to apply for this job at your company. I saw it on LinkedIn. I feel that I am really qualified for it. I looked at all of the skills. I looked at the job posting and I feel that I have a strong connection to it based upon my experience and my skills. Can you possibly make an introduction? You can also search for target companies. Say you have a company in mind that you're interested in working for. You can actually search for those companies and then also search for who in your network works there. Why would you do that? Because it's all about who you know, and you want to make those connections and see if perhaps they can make an inroad for you to reach out to somebody in particular, or even send an email to on your behalf, or you could perhaps reach out to that person just to make a connection, to start that networking process to give you a better chance of gaining the stronger possibility of being considered for that job. So start to get used to following companies that you want to work for. So once you have your LinkedIn account, you'll find it's very easy to simply click follow. So say you're interested in working for Nike, for example. When you look up Nike on LinkedIn, you'll see that there's a button that says follow. And what will happen after that is you'll get all kinds of notifications from Nike as they post things to LinkedIn. And that will provide you with more information about that company so that you are better informed about the trends that they're having, the different changes, the information that you might need. If you actually connect with somebody from the company, you will sound and be better versed in information about that particular company because you're following it and getting up-to-date information. You also want to search for the decision makers and add them to your network. So, who is making those decisions at the companies? Who are the ones that are going to be doing the hiring and, trying to connect with them. So it's really important to leverage your contacts, utilize who you know, and to try to get those introductions and then even take the conversation offline from LinkedIn to perhaps an email and then maybe even an informational interview, as we call it, where you can request a phone call, a meeting to find out more from this person so that you can start to make those inroads. And I think Risa might have something to add.
I do. And I think this is important. In my experience recruiting, sometimes companies will incentivize their employees to help find great candidates. So if someone comes to that employee and says, gee, I'd love to be hired as a such and such, what do I need to do? They will help bring you in and they might get a couple $100 for helping to make that placement. So you never know what companies incentivize their employees to make those placements. So you might be doing them a really big favor to make that connection as well.
Great point. Okay, so LinkedIn has different areas within the profile, and the first one that you're going to notice and that other people are going to notice is the photo and the banner. So it's really important to have a professional looking headshot. That does not mean that a professional photographer needs to take it. If you have that opportunity, wonderful. But I think nowadays with the phones and all of the different features that we have, you can certainly, grab a friend or a family member and get them to help you in taking a photo. It should be your head and shoulders photo, so it should be cropped in a way. Here are some examples that you can see. You can certainly have a personalized background or image or banner like this particular example has. I believe this is the skyline of New York City. And if nothing else, just use a simple professional photo. But it is really essential that you do put your photo there. And this here you can see is a student, and she has a really nice photo here, and it looks professional and appropriate for where she is. And she says she is a student and where she's located. So we'll talk more about this in our next slide.
Okay, and I just want to say one more thing about pictures. You are 14 times more likely to be considered for a position if you have a photo. Likewise, as a recruiter with that kind of experience, if I looked at a LinkedIn instance, I hate to tell you, and didn't see a picture, it was next. Okay, so remember that. I know that folks can sometimes be reluctant to put a picture up there, but believe me, it serves you well. It serves you well. Neat, clean, dressed, serves you well. All right, so here's my little social experiment with Photo Feeler. Photofeeler.com is a completely free program, and it runs on the basis of crowdsourced voting. And I thought it was so fascinating because I follow different people out there in the whole job realm, and I'm crazy about a lady named Madeline Mann. She has a ton of videos out there, and she does a short little, really abbreviated master class that I've sat through a couple times, just because I want to learn. I'm not looking to go anywhere, but I like what she has to say. She mentioned Photo Feeler, and I had to go check it out. So what did I do? The way Photo Feeler works is you can put a picture up there. You have 3 different categories where you can put a picture. These I chose were all business, but they have another category called social, for social media, more social. Then they actually have a dating category. And each of the 3 categories has 3 different rating scales. So for business, it's competence, likability, and influence. Okay. So you can see I played with the pictures. So this is a pretty old picture of me. This was actually taken in a vice president's office by a professional photographer who does an awful lot taking concerts. You know, in his day job, he's an IT mega engineer, supervisor, director, something. But for fun, he takes beautiful pictures. And I said to him, hey, please, can you help me out? 5 minutes, Julio's office, pictures. He took about 20 pictures. I picked one. The guy was talented. Okay. It's a nice picture. It scored well, but it doesn't look like me today. And that's super important. I want to make that point. Whoever you are right now today, that's what your social media should be. I have a friend who was fully qualified, applied for a wonderful position, probably should have been hired, but she had a picture up where she looked 16 and she was in her 50s. No, 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 no. You need to have a current picture of you. It doesn't need to be yesterday, but within the last year, it should look like you. So when someone does that Zoom interview or an in-person interview, it matches what they're seeing out there on LinkedIn. That's really, really important. Welcome, Jimmy. Thank you so much for attending. Welcome.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. So moving along here, this is a second picture with my crazy glasses and wanted to see how they'd rate me. Here's another picture with some other glasses. How would they rate me? And then I decided, you know what? I need the suit look again because that's how I scored the best over here. And I put together a suit, but wait till you hear what I did. I don't own a white shirt. I went into my husband's closet and I grabbed one of his white shirts that came from Goodwill. It's a $5 white shirt. Okay, I put it on. This jacket is a beautiful designer jacket from another find from Goodwill, $8. And these are my glasses, about 70 bucks. They're blue light glasses if you're working on the computer all the time and you don't even have a prescription. Blue light glasses help protect your eyes. Mine are light bifocals for, well, not bifocals, they're progressives for the computer and close work, but under $100. And my COVID cut, when COVID started, I cut the front, my husband cut the back because we were afraid to go anywhere. We continued on, and you can see this is the best we can do, but look at the scores. The deal with Photo Feeler is that you put the picture up there and then people vote on it. And to make the progress move a little bit faster, you actually vote on others. So in trade for people voting on your picture, you vote on others' pictures. And this is a couple of days. Look, I've got 78 votes. So so you review pictures too, and you can go pretty quickly. You're just assessing them on 3 different categories. Very simple. So you get points and then people vote on you, and you can see I scored high. I like the picture. I changed all my social media to reflect this picture now because I'm liking it. So I would encourage you, check out photofeeler.com for the picture you're going to use on your LinkedIn instance and let it be crowdsourced and get absolutely unbiased feedback on your picture and try like I did, glasses or a different jacket or a different suit or different color, different background, whatever you like, try it out and see what you get for feedback. Because the most important thing, remember, you're 14 times more likely to be selected on LinkedIn with a photo. So you got to have your photo up there. So you may as well pick one where people are saying, hey, I like that picture. Okay, I'm done.
This is great, and I think it's a wonderful resource, especially for students who are new to LinkedIn and maybe feel a little bit nervous about posting a photo and uncertain of it. This is a good way to have it reviewed. So thanks, Risa. Next slide is yours as well.
Okay. So when you go out there on LinkedIn, when you're creating your custom, when you're creating your LinkedIn account, at the beginning, you have the opportunity to create a custom URL that makes you easier to find. So rather than, this big, long URL, you can change it. So you have some opportunity to customize it. Maybe James Eaton is taken, but you become James Eaton 2022 or James Eaton post 22. Whatever you like, you can just shorten this a little bit and you could make it custom for yourself. And it helps you to stand out across the network.
And also, if you're going to post your LinkedIn link on your resume, it looks that much more professional. So the LinkedIn headline. So this is the bit that appears under your name, and we'll review that again in another slide, but it's now 220 characters on the desktop and the mobile app. And what does it do? The LinkedIn headline, it informs the viewers of who you are and what you're looking for. So we saw in that previous slide, the student who said that she was a student at Fordham University. So here you might want to say that you're a student, at Post University. If you're an honor student, you can certainly say that, honor student at Post University. You could even say majoring in and whatever your major is, but it informs the viewers of who you are, what you're looking for, and gives companies a really good reason to network with you. So this is the thing that's going to hook them, right? They're going to see your photo and they're going to see your headline. You have about 5 to 10 seconds to give others a good reason to view your profile. So you need to make it count. And that photo and that headline is going to do that. So what are the guidelines for effective headlines? You want to showcase your value proposition. So in the example of I'm an honor student, that's certainly valuable. You want to be specific. You want to use industry specific words, and you want to make it relevant to your audience. Who is the audience that you're trying to capture? Who are you wanting to get to look at your profile? So let's take a look at some examples.
Wait,
So
can we go back to that slide for 1 second?
yes, of course.
Just 1 second. With the industry specific keywords, if you're not really sure what might be industry specific keywords, here's a wonderful cheat. Go and look for some jobs for which you may apply and look at the keywords on those job descriptions, and that gives you the keywords that you need to include in an effective headline.
That's a great example and some direction, Risa, for sure. And you want to be sure that whatever words you choose, that they do apply to you. So if we look at this example, if you have experience with the job you want, and you want to mention the job title. If you don't have experience yet, you can use entry level or aspiring. So here you'll see the person's name. She is an aspiring freelance writer, meaning that she doesn't necessarily have direct experience yet, but she does say that she's a blogger. She has experience writing press releases, blog posts, and research. So she's adding some additional hard skills and keywords that prospects or recruiters may search for, which is what Risa was talking about. Mention industry-specific keywords that you expect recruiters to search for. So if you take a look at a job posting and you see those words and you have that experience, go ahead and put it in your headline. But you can see that it's not very long. It's really just one line. So here's some some more examples of headlines. So she's a freelance software developer. She has experience building apps, and she lists the particular sites or technology that she has experience with. And she's a full stack engineer. And if somebody is doing a search and looking for someone who has experience, say, with Java, hopefully they're going to find Kathy. Now, this Annette Cleopatra, she is an aspiring project manager, meaning she does not yet have experience with project management. She's a senior at New York University, but she has experience with these particular technology experience. So again, if somebody is searching for somebody who has experience with Agile, hopefully they're going to find her. This person is a little bit more advanced in that, well, he's a financial analyst, but he's seeking a new role. He's a CFA level 2, which has to do with the testing that you need to take to be a financial analyst. So certainly if somebody was doing a search on that, they would find him. And he majored in statistics and he graduated in 2020. So these are some really nice examples of headlines for people with different levels of experience. But I think the key is those words that are definitely searchable by recruiters.
Those keywords really are the value propositions that you bring to the table. So if somebody needs experience with someone who can do programming in C# or Ruby on Rails, they're going to look at Kathy. If somebody needs some help with Kanban or Agile, they'll be looking, at Annette. Hey, she's got earning her degree in project management. She has skills in these areas. So that's the value proposition you're bringing to the table that the recruiter would be looking for, that the hiring manager would tell her, here's what it is I need, and that's how she would know. So the power of recommendations. Recommendations are a section in your LinkedIn where you invite others to provide a recommendation for you. Just like you'd ask a teacher perhaps to write a recommendation letter in your class, with LinkedIn, you ask folks who know about your experience, who know that you can prove yourself in particular areas to write, and they're usually short recommendation about you, project you worked on, a program you worked on, a department you worked in, an internship you did. There are lots of different opportunities for you where you might request a recommendation, a former manager who could attest to your experience, your skills, your leadership skills, whatever. But I think what's key is if you invite someone to write a recommendation, have the courtesy to at least craft or draft what it is you'd like them to say about you, because people don't always know. You may have one vision of what it is your expectations are from that person writing the recommendation. And who knows, maybe some time has passed. Maybe they don't really remember everything you did, but it's clear in your mind. So do the courtesy of providing that draft for them and say, here I drafted something for you. This is kind of what I'd like my recommendation to look like. Of course, feel free to give it your own voice, to edit however you like. But that's always really even nice for your professors. If you're asking for a recommendation, send us some kind of a draft, what it is you're seeking, and that'll help jog our memories too in terms of what you delivered in class and how you did. It's a courtesy.
So skills and endorsements, another section on LinkedIn. So listing skills actually allows you to enhance your connections and display your professional brand. So what are some skills that you're really proud of that really connect with your career field or occupation or your desired career field? What are those skills that you feel are highly regarded, that you have, that you want to put out there? And then once you do that, you can actually get endorsed for these skills from other members who will actually validate the skills that you list. Now, how can you get these endorsements? Well, you can request from a trusted colleague or boss or somebody you've worked for who you believe can truly validate the skill that you have. So, for example, if you put down that you have excellent communication skills and you know that your supervisor has witnessed you communicating with clients and believes that you have this skill, you can ask them, would you be willing to endorse me? And it will be that much more validated. Sometimes endorsements are offered, so unsolicited, and that is up to you if you want to accept that endorsement or not. You do not have to accept every endorsement. So, for example, if your boss is offering to endorse you for your communication skills, there's really no reason why you would not accept that, as that is a validating endorsement from somebody who you report to. However, if somebody that you don't know or you don't really have much in common with professionally is offering to endorse you, and that endorsement might be confusing to some who are looking and thinking, why is that person endorsing? Then you might want to just politely decline and say, no, thank you. But skills and listing them and getting endorsements for those skills is very vital to your overall LinkedIn profile, as it really and truly validates your experience from the standpoint of somebody that knows you and can say, yeah, this person is putting these skills down, and I can say for certain that those are true skills that this person does have.
Can I just add, this is
Sure.
something the skills and endorsements that you build over time. So it's not like a one-shot deal when you set up your LinkedIn, you click on, okay, I have these 8 skills and okay, I'm all done. No, 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 no. Over time, people are going to validate you. You're going to pick up new skills. So this is live and it's going to keep building and keep growing. And when you make a connection with someone you know and accept that connection, like Camille said, they'll come to your site and say, oh yeah, communication, leadership, project management. Oh yeah, accounting, whatever those skills are, that person generally out of courtesy, it's kind of how it's handled. But again,
Absolutely.
you want to be comfortable with the person you're accepting that connection with. If somebody chooses to connect with you, you can look at their LinkedIn, you can check that person out and then think about, well, why does this person want to connect with me? I know sometimes people who are in investments want to connect with me. It's like, no, I don't think so. This person's trying to sell me something. I don't have anything in common. I politely decline. They don't know that you decline. You just don't make that connection. That's all.
Great points, Risa. And I really appreciate how this is, your LinkedIn profile is living, breathing. It's constant and evolving and changing as your career will. And so, just like you're frequently updating your resume, you're frequently updating LinkedIn, you're active in LinkedIn. And so certainly, these are not one-shot things that you're working on in LinkedIn. These are ever evolving, as you'll find.
Exactly. Okay, so part of LinkedIn allows you to do some job searching. So you can look at your network and perhaps look for a position. You can look in the jobs tab and you can look for a position. You could even look under interests. And I shared an interesting story actually regarding interests. I used to write resumes, which it was a blast. I learned so much. A man set up an appointment, pulled up to my house. He had a big van. We sat down. I said, okay, how can I help you? He said, well, I'm a dentist and I love to dive. And I really am looking for some part-time dental work to do nights and weekends. I said, really? I said, my dentist is a diver. I said, I bet he would love to have someone who would come to work in his practice who would work some nights and weekends. Let me see what I can do. No lie. I picked up the phone. I made the appointment, the arrangement, and my dentist invited this man in. They had the interview and he hired him to do the job. So you never know with an interest like that how you can have a connection. So it's really important in LinkedIn that they see the whole person and that you fill out all those sections. You can't do everything all at once. Like Camille said, you're going to build it over time. LinkedIn is big. There are lots of moving parts. So you start to load up the information perhaps from your resume, but interest can be super helpful for you to build those connections with other people. Okay, so certainly you want to use LinkedIn as part of your job search because this is where the recruiters are coming to look for folks. And so in terms of looking for jobs, you can also look at companies. So for instance, Otis Elevator, for Cigna, Frontier Communications, Pratt and Whitney, you can follow these different companies and get a sense of, are they hiring? Are they building a new branch? You can also look for current employees at these different companies to see who might walk you in the back door because you're way more likely to have that interview and land a position when somebody can walk you in versus just applying cold and being one of 300 people. So it's just so important. Also, you might find alumni from post-university who'd love to have an informational interview with you, and maybe they're looking for an intern, or maybe they know somebody in another department where they can make a connection and an introduction. And this is how it's done. There are a lot of jobs that are out there people are hired for, and the job isn't even posted. Even now, that's a reality. Okay. So remember that there are jobs there. It costs a lot of money to post jobs. And they may be looking for a person you don't know until you start to pull back the layers and make those connections.
So there's a lot to LinkedIn, and we wanted to provide you with this checklist, and you could see that there are specific parts to it. So we talked about the photo. We talked about how it does not have to be fancy, and that you could use your cell phone, and that, it just should be professional. You could switch your background if you want. And of course, just be sure that it looks professional, and that it's presenting you in your best light, and that it's current. Um, we talked about the headline. Tell people what you're excited about now and the cool things that you want to do in the future. So this is definitely important. As you can see, this is the first thing that viewers are going to look at. You want to grab them when you can. The summary. I like to think of the summary as your elevator pitch. So if you meet somebody, the whole concept of the elevator pitch is if you meet somebody in an elevator, you have about 30 seconds to tell them about yourself before the doors open and you exit and say goodbye. These are networking opportunities where you want to be able to talk to somebody and tell them, about yourself professionally, not your whole life story, but really your professional story in 30 seconds, excuse me. And so the summary is essentially the same thing. It's just your written elevator pitch. So here you can see it describes what motivates you, what you're skilled at, and what's next. And here's a nice summary example here for this particular member of LinkedIn. And then the experience category. So this is where you're going to list the jobs that you held. You want to put your most recent or current first, similar to a chronological resume. If you want to include some part-time jobs, if that's what you're doing right now, that's totally fine. You just want to show that you're doing something that is going to lead you to the next steps, and where you're gaining skills and experience and learning about those transferable skills that you can use wherever you go, whether it's communication, teamwork, time management. Continuing with the LinkedIn checklist, education. So you for sure want to put your education, where you went to college, what your degree is, and the years, the year that you earned it. or even multiple degrees if you have those. Volunteer experience. Go ahead and put that volunteer experience there. It says a lot about you. It says a lot about what you care about, what's important to you, that you're doing things outside of work, that you're a whole person. And even if you weren't paid for it, volunteer experience shows that you are utilizing skills and learning more skills and meeting people. And it's just very valuable. And I think that recruiters and potential networking opportunities appreciate those who go out of their way to help others. Skills and expertise, we talked about those and listing those skills, and then getting endorsed for them. So, here are some examples of skills here. Don't forget to ask for endorsements. If you have any honors or awards, you may want to add that category and include them here. Any courses that you took that you feel really connect strongly to what your goals are and what you're doing, and maybe even enhance your LinkedIn profile and really showcase that you've gone, the extra mile. Maybe there's some extra courses that you've taken on the side. Maybe you've taken an advanced Excel course, for example, and you want to list that because that's something that is highly coveted within your career field. Projects too. Did you do a special project, or did you do a presentation or something that you want to add? And finally, recommendations. Here's where you can ask people you work with, people you've used to work with, mentors, somebody that you trust to provide a recommendation for you where they can speak to your strengths and skills. This provides that extra credibility that really makes your profile and you stand out to those recruiters and job seekers, and really just connections too, because I think LinkedIn is not just about looking for a job or getting another job, but it's really about expanding your network so that maybe when the time comes for you to start that job search, you'll at least have a very strong network that you can count on to reach out to.
Okay, so there are obvious risks with anything online. You want to watch out for fraud and phishing when people are trying something that looks a little shady. If it looks shady, it probably is shady. Don't accept it. Don't click on that link. Hit the delete key unless you know the person or unless you can call the company and verify and validate. Don't click the link. And a lot of times you'll see emails perhaps with an issue like this. When you hit reply to, you'll see that FACO email address. You don't want to do it. You don't want to click on anything, your banking information. We like to collect all your banking information here as part of our LinkedIn survey. Oh, no, no, no. LinkedIn will never ask you for anything like that. Another issue here, workplace risks. You don't want to gossip about other people. You want to make sure in terms of your reputation, everything you put out there is true. And in LinkedIn, you have some special settings where when you make updates and changes, you can push all those things immediately out to your entire network or not. And so typically when people are super busy and they're at the company and they're working and their nose is down and they're in their job, they're updating all their LinkedIn stuff all over the place. They might add a course, they might add a training, some little thing. But somebody who's really in there with the sleeves rolled up and they're really working on that LinkedIn instance, bells are going off. And if you push that out there to everyone that you're making all these changes in your LinkedIn instance, this could tip off your employer that, oh, so-and-so is probably looking for another job. Look at all the stuff they've done on LinkedIn because you connected with that person at work and they can see all those changes. So you really want to think about those settings and think about those changes that you're making on your LinkedIn, because that's definitely risky. You don't want to have to answer for that. So how are recruiters using LinkedIn? There are, next slide, please. So recruiters are using LinkedIn here to discover talent. You can see 93% of recruiters are right there on LinkedIn, 66% are in Facebook, 54% are looking in Twitter to find new talent. And then in terms of Facebook, they're checking social media, and Twitter checking social media. Not checking social media so much in terms of Facebook, but now looking at those hiring decisions, lots and lots of folks are making those hiring decisions through LinkedIn. And I noticed that Marcia mentioned she got her position through Indeed, and that's awesome. You know, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe pick a couple of baskets that are going to work for you. This session doesn't really extend to Facebook, but certainly Facebook is generally second in the game after LinkedIn. So if you really are looking, you want to have a professional Facebook instance. And Marcia, Indeed was successful for you. I would highly encourage other folks to maybe pick 2 or 3 social media sites they're going to work in, that they're going to maintain that level of professionalism. And maintain is the important word, because you can't set it and forget it. This is something, all of these sites, they're going to continually change and move, and you need to watch them. You need to go in and maintain them.
So, connections in cyberspace. Don't underestimate your cyberspace connections. So, in your social networking, recognize that these sites open up doors for you to potential opportunities if you handle them correctly. These connections can be very valuable, and they might be connections that you may not have otherwise. So really treat these social networking opportunities with great care and professionalism. Recognize that it is convenient, but don't fall into the trap of, because it's convenient, therefore, you should be posting everything. It's particularly with LinkedIn, recognize the professionalism of it and maintain that professionalism. You want to be sure that you're portraying your personal brand in the way that you want in order to get the most opportunities. These sites are great. LinkedIn is wonderful in that you don't have to travel to meet people. You're having the opportunity to meet some really high level people, perhaps through LinkedIn. So this is a great opportunity, and it certainly expands your range. You're not limited to your local area. You can be meeting people all over the country and really all over the world. It's a great leveler. It really provides an equal opportunity for all people to meet all people. And it's definitely more comfortable for some in that screen provides a little bit of a protection at first until you can make the connection with the person and perhaps reach out to them through LinkedIn, and then take it off to email, and then finally, maybe having an informational interview over Zoom if that person is far away. And I think, that progressive interaction can certainly make it more comfortable and less intimidating. So it's just, these connections and this way of connecting is really valuable. So stay in check and review. Make sure that everything is correct, that you're posting. Grammar and spelling is essential. Be sure that what you're posting is professional. We give some figures here. 55% of hiring managers have reconsidered a candidate based on what they found on their social media. So if it's something that they don't like, they're going to move on. Keep it professional. 66% of hiring managers said they would hold poor spelling and grammar against candidates. So when you're doing your LinkedIn, have a friend look at it. Have somebody that you trust look at it to edit and edit again to make sure that everything is really looking good, appropriate, and not misspelled. 1 in 6 hiring managers said severe political affiliation was a potential negative. This is, LinkedIn's a professional networking site. It's not, it's not about that. It's about, professional networking and, making those connections. So, keep those things out of LinkedIn for sure.